In this module, we'll take a look at the service callout policy. In addition to the policy itself, we'll review a common use case, the mashup. So when do you use a service callout? I'd like to think of it as being used anytime you want to call more than one target. Let's start with an example. Say you want to generate a robust user endpoint, but your backend has user data split across user and customer APIs. And let's say that you need to call the user API first to get the customer ID to make that second call. In that case, you can use a service callout to call the user API and then use the response from the service callout as input to the customer API call. The customer API call would be the proxy target. The service callout will have request and response variables set and available to you in addition to and separate from the proxy request and response. You are also likely to combine the service callout policy with an assign message policy and/or an extract variables policy to transform the service callout request and response. In fact, the configuration within the service callout policy itself will feel familiar to you if you've been working with the assign message policy already. Now, we aren't limited to API calls. The service callout can be used to call other proxies within the same organization and environment, just like in your proxy target. And as you can see here, the target connections are configured the same way that they would be for your proxy target, with either an HTTP target connection or a local target connection. One common use case for the service callout is to create a mashup similar to the example we just discussed. Let's take a look at some implementation options. Once you've updated your proxy to make multiple API calls, you'll have multiple response objects to deal with in order to create your mashed up proxy response. The good news is that Apigee Edge provides you with a lot of flexibility in manipulating the responses, but that many choices can leave you struggling with what's the best fit for your specific use case. My guidance would be to start at the top of the list with assign message and extract variables. Using those two policies will be straightforward configurations and will not require you to write any custom code. If you run into the need for more complex transformation, you can step through the rest of the list and find a solution that works for your team. In a lot of cases, that means choosing a language that you are familiar with to minimize learning and maintenance impacts. On top of the challenge of mashing up the data, there may be extra data that you don't want to pass along to your API's consumer. In that case, the strategies are the same. You have a policy option with extract variables, or for more complex requirements, the option to use custom code like JavaScript, or even some combination of policies and custom code. Again, I would start with the simplest option unless your transformation requirements drive you to a more complex implementation. The service callout is a powerful policy to keep in your tool belt, allowing you to access multiple targets without custom code. This opens the door for you to create meaningful proxy experiences that are not bound to the content of any single target service. If you have any questions, please ask them in our community. You can also visit our documentation site for more detailed information. Thanks.